Hey guys, this is Benjamin Reed with Source Water, and very excited to see that you're interested in our new technology, the Frac Pit Finder, which, as you know by now, if you've opted in, it is a new technology that scans all available frac pits in the Permian Basin, and it does this in 3 easy steps. And so I'll actually just review that really quickly with you before we jump into the actual technology and the demonstration, just so we're on the same page. What we found was there was a real need for people looking for water, doing research for water, looking for additional lifted water resources and water storage, to be able to find these pits and the owners and the contact information and the prices and the water availability much more quickly. And so what we've done is we have essentially taken the work that used to be done manually by scanning Google Earth or any GIS platform, and we automated it through artificial intelligence. And so what we do is we take current scans of the Permian Basin through satellite imagery, which you can see here over in number one. We then use and excuse me while I get rid of this little pop-up. We then go ahead and we use an artificial intelligence software that we've designed with our development team, and they go ahead and they scan the entire region for what looks to be frac pits. And then based upon the size of the pit, they analyze that data, and then our in-house calling team calls the owners of that pit. And the way that we know who the owners are is that we match up the pit locations with parcel record data from public leases and permits, or excuse me, public leases and parcels. And then we go ahead and we create a call list, and then we call them and verify what they have. And that creates a really clean data set for you to not only know the locations of frac pits, but how much water is in them, and then also who owns it. And we also ask for the price and availability and that type of thing as well, and see if the water's for sale. And this is going to save you months of research, thousands and thousands of dollars, time wasted. You won't have to drive the oil field looking for this stuff. You won't rely on outdated imagery from satellites and manually pecking through Google Earth the way that you used to. And so what I want to actually do is, before I actually show you the finished product, which is the thing that you would be investing in and purchasing to get access to this data, I want to show you how I personally have used to do this process, how I used to go about finding these frac pits through Google Earth, and how, after visiting many surface landmen, water managers, completion engineers, how they used to do it as well, and still do it for many of them. So what most individuals would do is they would come into Google Earth or a GIS platform, and they would go ahead and they would manually search for frac pits. So for example, let's say that I am going into Howard County, and I'm going to go look actually north of Big Springs. Let me see if I can find that in here real quickly. Let me zoom all the way in. I believe this is Howard County right here, and I believe this is Big Spring. I can double check that by doing a very quick search here. Let's go search, and let's see what it brings up. Yep, I was right. So there's Big Spring. So let's say that I have a lease location here, or I have some rigs coming online and I need to find some water. Or let's say I'm just doing some market research for competitors, or trying to find out who has water where, and who the ownership is. What I typically would do is I would zoom into this area, and let's say I know it's out in this area right here. I would zoom into this area, and I would go and I would find individual frac pits. So for example, I just zoomed in and immediately I found a frac pit. So I would say, okay, this looks good to me, and I would go and I would grab a pin, and I would just call this a frac pit. Me personally, is I would go ahead and I'd grab it and put a little teardrop, and I would drop it right here, and then I would say okay, and then it would give me a latitude and longitude, and I would mark that down in a notepad or some type of Excel spreadsheet, and press OK. And then I would probably zoom out a little bit, and I would go over and find another frac pit. And I would go and say, okay, here I got another one right here. So I would zoom in on this location, and I would do that same process. I would get a pin, I'd move it over, and I would call it a frac pit. And I would do this over and over again until I had, I don't know, say 50 of them in an area that I was interested in. Now, I actually did this when I originally got out in the north of Big Spring, and I was doing some market research up there before we had this technology, and I was looking for frac pits. I actually did this exact process, and I can show you here. Let me go ahead and actually zoom in on what I used to do. Give me 1 second. So as you can see here at the top, there is this little file that I have called water pits. And so you can see I actually had done this previously, and I zoomed in on the map, and with all these different pits that I wanted to go drive by and see who the owner was, I actually drove up to each location and I tried to find them. Now, here's the problem with this. As you can see, this specific process took me about, I don't know, 30 minutes to 40 minutes to identify these pits. Then I did some other research. I have a set of partial data in Google Maps as well that I was trying to find who owned the pits. And then I was actually mapping where I would drive, because some of these service roads are not drivable, as many of you have experienced. And so it just was a hassle. It was a pain in the butt. I had to manually go identify it. And here's the big kicker. There was several pits, and I think I could actually identify one right here as an example. This pit right here, I bottomed out on. I actually got stuck here, right here. This pit is, the way this pit looks here in this map, it does not look like that anymore. This is completely empty. The lining is completely torn. These roads are completely, you can't really drive them that well. And I actually bottomed out right here, and then I got stuck on a service road. The point is that there was multiple pits that I had marked on this map, just like this, that were not even there. In fact, I can tell you, if you drive this road right now, I believe this pit is no longer even there. This one is owned by one of our clients, and you can actually see that they have an off-take point where you can drive right up to it, right on the road, where you'll be able to see some hoses. Right there, there's some hoses that you can, with a truck, drive up to. And I've been right there. But when I drove up the road and I was looking for other frac pits in the area, this was no longer there. This pit was no longer there. And I couldn't, this one I could get to. This was still active. But the point here is that it took a lot of time. It was very manual, and a lot of the pits were no longer there. They were bulldozed over. They were empty. The lining was torn. And I had a very difficult time identifying the right places to drive. And I spent 5 hours to identify essentially five pits that were actually usable and that owners were willing to sell out of. So why am I telling you all this? Is because we have eliminated this manual work, and we've eliminated the need to rely on imagery that is this imagery here for Google Earth. Anyone using Google Earth, it is around 2.5 years old. It's old imagery. It's not updated that often. And what we've done is we've tapped into very recent current satellite imagery. It's no more than a month old, so we know it's very recent. And what we've done is we've scanned the Permian Basin with something called machine learning technology or deep learning. I don't want to get bogged down in the technical details of it, but what it does, and the reason it's so cool, is that just like a human can identify what a frac pit looks like, it has a certain dimension, it has a certain color, it has a certain size. Machine learning creates a model where it can also identify these parameters. And then from that model, it can then identify everything else that looks like that. So the computer essentially automatically can detect these frac pits automatically for you. So you don't, as a human being, have to go here and manually go through it. So I want to show you, I have the raw data that we've gotten from that machine learning program we run. And I want to show you what that looks like in Google Earth, but then I want to show you the clean version of how it actually looks on sourcewater.com and what you'll be investing in and purchasing if you find this to be valuable. So let me go ahead and I'm going to turn that on here. So let me go ahead and click it. Now what you'll see is all of a sudden you're seeing a bunch, I'm going to get rid of these little frac pits that I created, a bunch of little green marks here. And what you're looking at is the outline of the machine learning in progress. So what has happened, and if I zoom out even further, I'm going to zoom in, so bear with me for a second, but if I zoom out across, this is the entire west side of Texas. This is the Permian Basin right here. In fact, I can show you the Permian Basin border is this big guy. Let me zoom in a little further. That's the entire Permian Basin right there that I've zoomed out on. And you can see within those markers, there's always little green dots. So that's the machine learning that has outlined all these pits. So we have tens of thousands of these pits, and if I zoom all the way back in, and let me go ahead and get rid of this border so you can see the actual satellite imagery. But if I zoom in, for example, on any one of these areas, and I go in directly, you can see now there is an outline here that demonstrates where the pit is. And so if I get rid of the outline, just for the sake of showing it to you, you can see there's actually a pit here. Now, what we do, this is the raw data. So this isn't the final version that gets uploaded into source water. We then do another pass to make sure the data is accurate. And then we overlay it with parcel record data so that we know who the landowner is, and then we have a call team go out and actually call. But the point is that it identifies where the pits are and allows you to find them without scanning it manually yourself. And then we have several other steps. So I wanted to give you a sense of, from a raw data perspective, that's where it's coming from. And you can see on each county with all of these little markers, these little green markers, I mean, there's thousands of them, and it would take you months of work to go through and scan every single one, and then match them up with the right parcel record, and then call and find out what the price is. I mean, it would take you months or years to even do a single county. Now we have all of that data in source water. So what I want to do is I'm going to get out of this program, and I want to go over into sourcewater.com, and I want to show you exactly what it looks like in practice. So when we go to sourcewater.com, we're going to log into the system by just clicking on this login link. Obviously, you have to sign up first if you haven't already. Now, again, if you have never signed up before, you have to sign up. You get a free account, by the way. You get a free search. So I highly recommend that you take advantage of the free search. By the way, actually, let me get back out of here because I want to show you that real quick. If you come to our main homepage, sourcewater.com, you can go here and you can click search for wastewater, and you can put in a zip code, a state or a city. For example, if I want to search around Midland, Texas, I can do that, and I can click search. It's going to ask for information. I'll just do it real quick. If you click search, it's going to ask you for information to your email and your first name and your last name to do a free search, but then it will take you into the exact area you want to search for, and you can check out this technology on your own for free right now. So you can do that if you want. You can also sign up for free. For example, if you click sign up, it's going to allow you to create a free account. Again, you get a free search every single month with a free account, so go ahead and do that if you'd like. Right now, I'm going to log in because I already have an account, obviously, and I have an admin account. If you come to this screen, you can always click create a new account, and I'll click login. And so once you've logged into the system, you're going to come to a page with a map. Now, when you first create an account, you're going to get some instructions on what to do. This, by the way, if you ever need support, you can click here, and you can see that there's some conversations that I've done as a test, but this is actually our support platform. So if you want to create a new conversation, you can actually message us directly. You can see Maria is on our support staff, and I can say, hey, I need some help. And it will automatically post the message, and we can get a response where they'll type back to us right there. Also, you can attach files, you can put in a GIF, you can add a smiley face, a bunch of different stuff. But this is how in all the past conversations will be recorded, so I can go back in the past and I can look at that. So that's just if you have any support questions, you're having difficulty, click on this little guy and we'll help. And so, hey, what help do you need? So that was my support staff. You can see she's very responsive, and I'll say this was simply a test for a demonstration. Okay, and there you go, and you can see that's all. So she'll be able to help you through there. You can also call our support line if you get in here and you have confusion at 713-909-4664. That's 713-909-4664. Okay, so now that we're in here, and I know we're talking specifically about satellite imagery, so thank you, Maria. Now that we're talking about satellite imagery, I want to explain the system a little bit more, at large. I don't want to just focus just on the satellite imagery, because when you get in the system, we are much more than just that. We have 100,000 water sources. We have everything from the publicly permitted water sources, the commercially permitted water sources for oil and gas use in Texas through the TCEQ and the TWDB, and there's different platforms that have different data sources. But we have all that public data that's been put into our system for your use. As anyone who knows, if you go to the Railroad Commission or the TCEQ or any of these websites, they're not always the easiest to use. So we've created a very easy to use platform to find that same information. The second type of data we have is the satellite imagery. The satellite imagery is exactly as I've explained it previously. We're scanning current satellite imagery, and then we're using a machine learning to find those pits, and then we're overlaying them with parcel record data and then calling them to find out their prices. And then the third and final type of data is real users, real people, perhaps like you, landowners, ranchers, farmers, individuals who have service companies, water brokers, people who own water depots, and everybody in between, even energy operators put up their produced water for sale or their fresh water excess for sale on our system. So it's not just a database, it's also a live time marketplace where people do business. And just to put that in perspective, people actually log in here and they create listings every single day. We have about 10 to 20 new listers per day who want to sell water or disposal. And it's not just water. We also do all commercial disposal wells. So you can see there's two options for searching: disposal, treatment, and reuse, and water and wastewater. So we're going to focus on the satellite stuff today, but I want to very quickly walk you through how listings are created, because you're going to find them on your searches. We don't just show the satellite imagery data, although that's the point of this conversation. We're going to show all the data on any individual search because we want people to be able to do that. Now you can filter down to the satellite data, and you can filter. There's so many filters that you have. If I click here on this, and I'll do that again. There's this more filters option. If I click here, it's going to allow you to set so many different filters. Choose what types of water you want to search for. If you want to see only user listings, no public data. If you only want listings with price, you can extend your search radius. That's going to really slow down the system because we have so many results. So if you want a faster search result, you just put 50 miles. And then you can choose different types of water quality. So you can really go very specific. You can say how much volume you're looking for, what dates you're looking for. And then you can see here, if I want to actually choose a specific location, I can zoom in on the map just by clicking this guy right here. And then you can just double click where you want to search. So if I want to search around Midland, I can do that. I could zoom in further. I could switch to satellite view just by clicking up here, and I could really zoom in anywhere on this map that I want to. Now, if I'm looking for disposal, I would just switch over to disposal, treatment, and reuse. I should also mention that when you click anywhere in the map, notice how my latitude and longitude changes here. I could manually type that in. I can also put in cities or states or a specific address. So if I want to do a city, let's say I want to do Stanton, Texas, I can type in here. So the reason I'm going over this is how you do the search. This is how you begin to search for in our platform. But before I do a search, I want to very quickly show you the how to create a listing, because this is one of the data types you're going to come across, and I think it's one of the more valuable data types because you know there's a real person that's sitting behind it, and they're saying and claiming that they have water. Sorry, I meant to click on this create a listing. So when you click create a listing here, and just so you know, it's completely free to create listings. You can go ahead and log in and create a listing right now. If you want to create a free account, anytime creating an account is free. The listings are free. The only time that you're paying right now is for subscriptions, is to get access to the database, which is a very low rate. It starts at $99 a month. And by the way, there is a link below. There's a button below on this page where you can actually schedule a demonstration with me or my team, and we will go over in detail a specific case for you and the subscription plans we have. We also have advertising, so if that interests you, if you're a mobile treatment company or you have any services that you want to promote that aren't just specifically water sources or disposal wells, you can still promote on our site and contact us. So go ahead and click on the link below if you want to schedule a demonstration with me, if you want to find more about pricing, or if you want to get involved right now. And then also, if you're interested, you can go ahead and you can call us directly at 713-909-4664. But anyways, back to this right here. If I want to create for example, let's say I want to create a water source for sale. I would say I have water rights for sale or lease. And we have two types of water listings you can create. One is a water rights listing, which is you're actually putting up your parcel of land for lease for the water rights or the surface rights, and then also you can actually create a water source. So it automatically puts it on water source, and you can see here there's an 8-step process to creating this listing. Very simple. You go step by step, and it will tell you exactly what to do. So I would say this is Bob's water well. So let me just say Bob's water well. And I could then go say, choose from this option that it isn't actually a water well. You can choose from frac pit, water station, natural pond, stream, pipeline riser. So there's many different types of water sources, as you may know. Or excuse me, I'm going to do the water well. And then I would just click next, and I can choose exactly where the location of the well is. Again, you can zoom in on the map. You can choose exactly where you want it to go. So if I want to come over to Odessa and I really want to zoom in, I could do that. Many people don't know the latitude and longitude. If you do, you can just type it right here. And then let's say it's right here. I can either just double click on the map. I could switch over to satellite view, and I could say, well, I'm way too far up, and I could say this isn't accurate. Let me go right here, and there's my water well. Just as an example, that's obviously a pump jack. And then you would go click next, and you would choose the dates of availability. You'd say this is water source is available at this date and this time. You could set its end date if you want to. You could say it's available only for one-time use. For example, if it's a frac pit that's not recharging, you could choose the volume, what's the flow rate, what's the actual in terms of gallons per minute. But let's just say it's like 30,000 barrels per day. It automatically will tell you what the gallons per minute is. You can set a minimum order. You could say I don't know, and then you could put in water quality. So you could say, hey, look, I got flow back, or I got some fresh water, whatever you have for sale, and then you can upload water quality reports. You can specify what your TDS levels and all your different chemical levels are. You don't have to. It doesn't require you to do that, but you want to give as much information as possible. So let's just say this is that number, that'd be a high TDS level, and then we would click price. So you could say I want 50 cents a barrel, and then finally you can go ahead and put more details in. So I'm going over this because you will encounter these types of listings when you do your satellite search, and I don't want you to get confused. And so this would be, this is more information about the water well. And they can put more information about their company as well, and finally click next, and it will give them a summary or you of exactly what you're about to create in listing. And when you click publish, it tells you exactly what you're about to publish. So if you are a water seller and you've done this, you would just come over to your listings once it's been published, and you click listings, and you can see I've created a bunch of water wells. We have people with hundreds of these, and you can see these are all in draft mode. So I could go publish, I could delete it, or I could click on these actions, I could view it, I could view on a map. So if I want to see what it looks like in search results, I would click view on a map, and it will show me exactly what it looks like. And if I wanted to come back and see exactly what else it looks like in terms of the actual company page, I can view it right here. So that's how it works. So the reason I showed you all that is because I want you to know how these listings get created from a user perspective. So if I come back and I do a search and I'm just looking for satellites, at this point our system is going to automatically pull all the results. So let's pretend I want to do a search out of Pecos and I want to find water sources in that area. It's going to automatically move the cursor over here. Again, you could click, and I'm going to click search. So you need to give the database about 5 seconds to return the results, and then you'll see here we have a bunch of different types of data, and they're signified by the look and feel. So you see a teardrop like this. This is a real person has created the source, and so if I go ahead and click on this, you'll see that it is West Texas H2O, 30,000 barrels a day. Here's the latitude and longitude. And our system automatically calculates how far away this data source is. I apologize, I actually clicked on that, but I'm glad I did because you can see this is what their company page looks like. So this is where you can call Evan, you can give him a call on his cell phone, you can send an email, and then you can also see all the information you would need to know. You can request information, or you could buy online, and that is how you actually do business. So I'm going to go back to the results, but that's a user-created listing when you see teardrops. The other type of, remember there's 3 types of data: satellite, public permits, and then there's the user-created listings. So if you want to see an example of public data, this is actually the satellite stuff that we're going to get into, and I know that's why you originally came. and let's click on this. And this is a public permit. So this is James McCormick. This comes from the TWDB as the data source. The data source will be down here, and you can see it's 1.4-mile air distance, and then here's the GPS location. When you click Learn More here, this James hasn't actually created this listing. We pulled this from public records, unlike this one over here, where West Texas H2O actually logged into the system and created a listing the way that I showed you. And then you can finally click Learn More, and you can request information from this. It's going to come to our team. We will go get the data for you. That's something that I really do want to emphasize, is that this is living and breathing. We're constantly updating the data. We're constantly adding to it. We have 10 to 20 new users coming into the system every day. So, and then finally, these are user-created listings, but they are water rights. So it would show that it's water rights, and it will show you this is 646.1 acre parcel size that's up for water rights lease. So if you're a water developer, if you are you want to get right-of-ways done, you can talk to these people, because they're probably open to doing some type of deal to have you drill on their surface or to cross their land. So that covers that. So finally, let's get into the satellite stuff. So as you can see here, here's a satellite result. We know there's a frac pit there, or there's some type of water source that has water at surface that's 43,144 barrels. You can see it pulls the exact same type of information as the other listings do. So let's go to another one. And just so you know, there's not only the map results, but there's also the list results. So it shows the top 10 results by distance, and you can filter different, choose different filters by choosing closest by air, closest all data. You can look for best water price. If you want more filters, you can click here, and there's this pop-up that allows you to choose all these filters. If you choose a filter, come down here and click search, or you can click cancel. So you can always research from here as well. And there's a lot more I can cover, but I want to stay on the point here. Is that if you have these results, it's like Google or Yelp, and only shows the top 10. So it's not like a GIS platform where it shows all the data at once. The reason for that is the most important factor in water sales is proximity. It's how close these water deals or water wells or water pits or whatever type of water source it is are to your location. So the further it gets away is the worse it becomes, obviously, for logistics and for not being able to get through in terms of your right-of-ways. And so now to get to just because you see 10 results, I don't want you to think there's a lack of data. We have hundreds of thousands of results, and so you just go to the next 10 by clicking the next 10 results up here. And when you do that, you'll see another set of 10 results populate. So right now, the satellite imagery icon looks very similar to the public permit data icon. So I don't want you to be confused. We are going to make a change to that in the future. So let me go ahead and click on that. This is an example of satellite imagery. There's 385,000 barrels in this pit. And remember, the way we do that is we analyze the dimensions of the pit and we make some calculations. Now I can switch over to satellite imagery, and you'll see here that this is the frac pit. You can see it's been identified, and you can see that this is once we click on the pin again, it will show you this is the 385,000 barrels. Now remember, I told you we overlay this with parcel record data. We know who the contact owner is, at least the person who owns the land, and then we call that person to verify they own the pit, and if not, who owns the pit. We get that phone number, contact the owner, we ask if it's available for sale, and then we ask the price. Now, we do that all offline currently. We do it by request, but in a few months, this is all going to be actually available online. But if you want to learn more now, you can click Learn More. You can request information about this specific pit. In our in-house team, we have a whole calling research team that does research on this. We'll go and find that data for you so your team doesn't. And that comes with the subscriptions that we have that start at $99 a month. So that's a good example of the satellite imagery. Another good example, let's take a look right here. Another satellite imagery example, there's a 68,000 barrel pit here. And again, you can do this anywhere. There's pits all over the basin. Let's see if we can find another one. So here's another pit, 98,898 barrel pit. And so again, you can just constantly be looking for these frac pits. And so that's how the system works. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I also want to say that although I may have said this a little earlier, is that we're not just a database, we are a marketplace, and we're not just a marketplace, we're also a service provider. We know so much about what's going on in the Delaware and the Midland Basin for fracking, for water or water sources for fracking, and disposal wells as well, that we're more than happy to offer consulting services, planning services. We help people plan fields. We help people find the right consultants or the right contractors to drill water wells, to set up transfer, to build and design disposal facilities. Remember, we're also well versed in disposal as well. If you want to search for disposal, for example, we can always search that in our system. So let's just go into Stanton, Texas. I can go and I can search Stanton, Texas by putting that address in, and instead of water wells or water sources, it's going to pull all viable disposal wells in the area. So again, here we have disposal options. So when you see the cluster, you know that those are close by. And you can see they're ranked by 1 to 10 by proximity, how close they are. You have a list of them here. Some of them have price, some of them don't have price. And if I click on, for example, 5, this is Cary Allred. They have 25,000 barrel a day disposal capacity, and they're asking 55 cents a barrel. It's 3.23 air distance, and this is really valuable intel. It's not just for people planning their services or their upcoming operations for getting rid of flowback or produced water. Same thing on the water side. Our data, we have so many types of users. We have 1,200 active users. We have 175 operators, real oil and gas companies that use us. And the people that are not operators, they could be service companies, they could be disposal well owners, they could be landowners, they could be people doing research. They could be an individual who works at a private equity company and might want to put in a disposal well but wants to get some market research done beforehand. You can use our platform for that. So if I want to get in touch with Cary, I would click Learn More, just like on the water side. I would see this is the type of water he's willing to take. He's asking 55 cents a barrel right now. And I can see the availability. I can request more info from him. I could buy now. There's so much more that you can do by just logging in. It also tells you if the person creating the listing wants, they can put some more information about what they have as available. So that is how it works. I hope that was helpful. Go ahead and schedule yourself below on my calendar. Get involved. 713-909-4664. I would love to talk with you. My team would love to talk with you. We'd love to answer any questions that you have. When you go into the link below, there is a Calendly link that you're going to have to choose the date and the time, and then it's automatically going to schedule yourself into my calendar. At the time that our event will occur or our meeting will occur, there's a link that you want to follow. It will let you share a screen with me. If you don't know what to do with that, you can always still just call me directly at 713-909-4664 and ask for me that way. But this will at least get you on my calendar so that we can have that conversation. Really excited to have you guys on board. The satellite imagery starts at a rate of $2.99 per month, and it goes up from there. We have different search capacities, so we sell our subscriptions by capacity on searches. If you want to learn more about these subscription plans, and we have discounts for bulk licenses as well as for how long you do it, but we're more than happy to get you involved today. So 713-909-4664. My name is Benjamin Reed. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Source Water, and you can schedule yourself on my calendar below. Thanks so much.